I get it. Not a lot to talk about right now. We were supposed to get the freaking schedule released last week. We didn't get it, but you know what? It's a Monday, and some new stuff is popping up right now. And honestly, I think I owe y'all an apology. I I've been lying to y'all, and y'all deserve better than that. I don't like to live in the world of delusion, and facts for facts. I've been lying to you guys, and I'm gonna set the record straight. Let's talk about it.
I can do it all, I will never fall. It's the renaissance, you know that I got the mother sauce, man. You know I'm the boss, I know what it costs. Have you what a loss? I'm so versatile, yeah, I'm a renaissance, man. I can do it all, I will never fall. It's the renaissance, you know that I got the mother sauce, man. You know I'm the boss, I know what it costs. Have you what a loss? I'm so versatile, yeah, I'm a renaissance, man.
Congratulations, brother. Hey.
And here we. So listen, my bad, my bad. I've been lying to you guys. I've been coming on this channel, whether it's through the videos or on my lives on Tuesday night, hang out with Gunny. Definitely catch it this week. We're gonna go ahead and have Antoine Staley on the show. I digress. Just a quick little shameless plug there. But I went through this video to apologize, and of course to inform you, fellow Jets fans, and anyone else watching, what I've been lying about and what the facts actually are. I've stood here in front of this camera and I've talked about how the New York Jets had an immaculate offseason. I've gone out of the way and given Joe Douglas high praise. I've said things like Joe Douglas should go ahead and be given an extension. I've said things like Joe Douglas is going to be he's going to be safe if Coach Saleh can't take this team and go ahead and win with this roster. I've seen here and literally given offseason grades and NFL draft grades and kind of given the Jets an overall grade of B plus, A minus throughout this entire offseason. I've been very excited about it. And I stand by that. I do believe the New York Jets had an incredible offseason. I do believe that this team is primed to go ahead and take us to the promised land. I don't think we've ever had a roster as talented as we currently do right now in terms of all over the roster. I've seen, power rankings come out, although it kind of like it's weird that you would give us power rankings where we're now 17th on the power rankings, but one of your reporters recently had us as the number one roster in the NFL. I don't know how that math is mathing, but I digress. It is what it is. I'm glad to be where we're at right now in terms of not in the spotlight. Last year when we were in the spotlight, we kind of saw how that panned out. I like to go ahead and be kind of a dark horse. Keep us at the power rankings of 17. I personally love it. I think it's ridiculous, but I personally love it. But at the end of the day, I've said all of these things, and I've said stuff like, hey, listen, the New York Jets ceiling should be a Super Bowl. The floor should be some playoff wins. I've said things like the New York Jets' biggest opposition this offseason is not another team, but injury. The injury bug. I believe wholeheartedly this roster is built the way it is with this offense, that when I look at this team in its entirety, now I'm not talking about, the quarterback by itself or the wide receiver room by itself. I get that. I understand that. But in its entirety, pound for pound, the New York Jets roster is potentially the best roster in the NFL. Pound for pound. Remember that. Defense, special teams is a part of the roster. We do have some dogs on the offensive side of the ball. Aaron Rodgers is, a first ballot Hall of Famer. We're still going to see what he brings to the table here at his age 40 season comes to fruition. But pound for pound, on paper, the New York Jets have one of the best, if not the best roster in the NFL. I didn't lie to you about that. I really believe that's the case. But when I stated that the only opposition the New York Jets had this season was going to be injury, I lied to y'all. And y'all deserve so much better than that. So I want to apologize. I want to apologize for lying to you guys because that's not me. I don't like to live in the world of delusion, and I see a lot of individuals on Twitter Spaces and on YouTube love that stuff. Some fan bases thrive off of delusion and believing lies told to them. Not us, not Jets fans. We're one of the most brutal fan bases I believe there is. We're quick to go ahead and call trash when we see trash. We don't like to go ahead and hold on to hope if we don't have to. And yet I have failed you as a Jets fan by getting in front of this camera and talking to you guys like the only thing we had to worry about this entire season was the injury bug. I lied. There's two things you just have to worry about this season. There's two things. The first one still remains. I believe injury could be the biggest freaking detractor from what this team can achieve this season. If we can't stay healthy, it's a wrap. I do believe if we get a combination of health of Aaron Rodgers staying healthy or our offensive line staying healthy, that's still good enough for this team to be extremely competitive. Let's not forget last year, with no Aaron Rodgers, no offensive line, the team still won 7 games and actually beat multiple playoff teams and took some playoff teams down to the wire. So I do believe that the injury bug is going to be the biggest detractor of what this Jets team can achieve. I'll stick with that. That is facts. But there is a second opposition, a second opponent that we need to be worried about this season. Nathaniel Hackett. Yep, Nathaniel Hackett. Listen, I've been kind of verbal about the fact that Aaron Rodgers coming back can offset and hide a lot of things, right, when it comes to this team. Aaron Rodgers coming back, even at half, 50% Aaron Rodgers, I think is good enough for this team to go ahead and make the playoffs. However, we need to remember that Nathaniel Hackett is the offensive coordinator. And I maybe I'm being hard on him, but after the debacle we saw in Denver, a lot of us jumped on the ship and defending him. We were talking about how being a head coach and an offensive coordinator are two different things. Like, saying one is not the other. And we were fighting for this man. We had his back against Sean Payton and all that crap he was talking. We wound up going into Denver and whipping their ass, and that was pretty awesome. But at the end of the day, Nathaniel Hackett last year, we saw an individual who had no answers on offense. Someone who didn't get creative, didn't utilize his weapons very well, trying to go ahead and tone down the offense specifically for the lackluster quarterbacks we had available for us to go ahead and throw out there on the field to try to win games. Yeah, we won 7 games. I think a lot of that was on the backs of Breece Hall and the backs of this defense. But there was opportunity to win more, right? They just lost 5 games by 1 possession or more, and it just, you saw a lack of creativity from Nathaniel Hackett. So there's legitimate concern there when it comes to what he brings to the table. But we thought we'd be okay. We thought, with Aaron Rodgers here, things are going to be fine. Well, latest reports tell us that the front office of the New York Jets feel the same way. They feel that there's some concern when it comes to Nathaniel Hackett. Now, again, this is reports from Connor Hughes, where they're talking about how during the offseason, the New York Jets did express concern about Nathaniel Hackett, and that they had attempted to go ahead and bring in somebody to kind of like oversee Nathaniel Hackett, not necessarily an offensive coordinator. Don't forget, Nathaniel Hackett is here because Aaron Rodgers is here, right? Like that was a unified front to kind of get Aaron Rodgers. We had to get Nathaniel Hackett. So they were trying to go ahead and get somebody that was like above Nathaniel Hackett, right? And an offensive consultant, so to speak. Pretty much an OC or a coordinator to coordinate our OC, right? Which it's funny when you say it that way. A coordinator to coordinate our coordinator in all things offense. Anyway, they made the attempt to do so, and apparently it wasn't able to come to fruition. And the pure fact of the matter is that them realizing there might be a concern or an issue with Nathaniel Hackett being the OC is telling, to say the least. But more importantly, the fact that they try to make an attempt to go ahead and repair that or kind of like correct it makes me want to know how Nathaniel Hackett is going to react. Is he going to go ahead and be offended and upset that there was some concerns about his ability to be a creative play caller? Let me remind you, this is the same guy that said last year mid-season that he didn't know that Breece Hall was him. He wasn't aware that he had Breece Hall on the team, apparently. Didn't know that guy could catch balls outside of the freaking backfield. It was an embarrassing press conference to have as an offensive coordinator that the second most important, I mean, you could really argue Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, like, which is the most important offensive weapon on this roster. I digress. Nevertheless, you should know what that player is capable of, especially since he go ahead and did it to you in Denver the year before when you were the head coach. But he didn't realize Breece Hall was him. That, to me, ever since then, has rang bells of concern for me. And it's been bringing bells of concern for me throughout the offseason. I think in my excitement to see this roster get built up, in my excitement to see Aaron Rodgers getting back healthy, which in its own is a huge improvement to this team and to this offense. I think I fooled myself into believing, you know what, we're good. We're good. You'll have Aaron Rodgers be the offensive coordinator. You'll have Aaron Rodgers be the freaking quarterback. And then we can bypass the whole aspect of what Nathaniel Hackett brings to the table. But we shouldn't be worried about that. In all actuality, Nathaniel Hackett holds a very important position in regards to being the offensive coordinator. We're going up against guys like freaking Patrick Mahomes, who has the mind of Andy Reid running that offense. The Miami Dolphins, who have the minds of Mike McDaniel, who is a very impressive and creative offensive thinker. If you go into the freaking Super Bowl, you might meet a team like the Green Bay Packers, a team like the freaking 49ers, right? Like, these are the teams that you're going to have to get over, offensive-minded teams, in order to win games. If our quarterback has to do all the processing of thinking, creating the plays, making the, like, it's a lot to be asking for a 40-year-old quarterback, and there's concerns to be had. So I wanted to get in front of the camera and renege my previous statement of the New York Jets' biggest opposition this season, or this coming season, is injury, because we have two big oppositions: Nathaniel Hackett and injury. I hope that Nathaniel Hackett is more along the lines of the Nathaniel Hackett that we heard coming out of Green Bay, who was a guru of sorts when he got into the red zone, as he calls it, the gold zone, right? I'm hoping that he is able to go ahead and make things happen. Maybe he's the kind of offensive coordinator that can only be creative when he has complete confidence in his quarterback, where he doesn't have to think too much of whether or not the quarterback can execute his play design. He knows Aaron Rodgers can. I'm hoping that's the case. I'm hoping that's the case, that we have an offensive coordinator that's going to look at what happened this offseason in regards to the Jets considering bringing in a coordinator to coordinate him. Take it personally, get upset, get creative, get competitive. I hope he's been in his house, like in his freaking office, just drawing up these freaking amazing plays to go ahead and utilize a talent that Joe Douglas has now put on this offense. You got a healthy Aaron Rodgers back. Let's go ahead and create some plays where the ball gets out of that man's hands quickly and into the hands of playmakers. Breece Hall can play ball. I think he knows that now, which is a good thing. You got Malachi Corley. You got Mike Williams. You got Garrett Wilson. Conklin should be included in this whole process. Like, there's too much talent now available to him at his disposal that can do a little bit of everything, that can make his job a lot easier. I felt I had to go ahead and make a video and apologize to y'all, because I shouldn't have lied to y'all. Y'all don't deserve that. That wasn't fair to y'all. The New York Jets have some concerns, and those concerns evolve around staying healthy and overcoming Nathaniel Hackett. Aaron Rodgers is that dude. I really hope it's going to be enough. I guess time will tell. Well, that's it for me. As always, go Jets.
Congratulations, brother.
He was going to be. I don't think I was ready for him to be as productive as he was in the past game. I think that's something that has added a whole dimension to things that we can do. Lining up a wide receiver, catching the ball from the backfield, and when he touches the ball, I mean, he could score at any time. So